Hello, my name is Alan, and my pronouns are he, him, and today I am running the fifth and final session of a 5-session series of Fate of Umdaar. Fate of Umdaar is Evil Hat's new Fate. I suppose I would describe it as Fate core-ish, Fate condensed probably, setting. It's in playtest, so we are playtesting it as written and offering feedback to Evil Hat if they want it. I'm not going to say any more about it. Go back to the earlier sessions if you want to know more about the playtest. But I do want to say that we're playing, this game is organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's online calendar, one of hundreds of games played internationally, which you can join by searching gauntlet-rpg.com. So do come and check us out, because we'd love to have you come and play with us. We are playing within the Gauntlet's Code of Conduct, which is a great document. We are also playing with the safety tools, lines and veils, X card, open door. I'm not going to explain that now. Go back to session 1 if those terms are unfamiliar to you. All these players are very familiar with them, so I don't need to reprise them. But I will just, say that I would ask them to just check in on the lines and veils and make sure that, that there's nothing they want to add to the list. So I think that's me done. I'm much more interested in having the players introduce themselves and the characters to you. I'm going to go right to left because I want to finish with Will, if I may, and maybe just tell us about something significant that happened last time in this series. So Alexi, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Princess Zenobia Gallowglass.
That's right. So I'm Alexi, he, him. Follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. In this series, I am playing Princess Zenobia Gallowglass. She is the prodigal scion of a master of Umdaar, one of these tyrants that are the antagonists of this world. And she is now returning home with a vengeance. And we're going to get to see that in this session. And I'm very excited for that. So Zenobia ran away from the castle, the Ascendant Castle, stronghold of her father, Lord Ghoulian Gallowglass. She set out into the world to learn more about it. Her motivation was won't get fooled again. She's, for many years bought her father's propaganda that he was a harsh but fair ruler and the right person to be lording it over the Rusted Ridge. And then she discovered that in fact he was evil user of arcane technology who extracted souls of his subjects to maintain his immortal rule. In her time on the run, she's learned a little more about the world and about other masters, and been part of this brave party of champions that have claimed a crucial weapon that may be a way to strike back against her father's rule. So that's where we are. I guess just a moment from last time that was exciting was crashing into the audience chamber of the Cudgel Lord, a kind of brutal, barbarian master of the far north. And and then having a whole, dramatic confrontation scene there that ended with sending the Cudgel Lord fleeing and claiming from him his signature hammer.
Yes, you are now in possession of the hammer of the beasts of Umdaar. And I think that you discovered last time, possibly through Lars's. No, I'll come to that. Let me carry on with introductions. Get carried away. Brandon, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to victory through perseverance.
Hello. I'm Brandon, he, and my character is Victory Through Perseverance, generally shortened to Vicky, who is a she. Victory is a Mutawarrior, which means she is a created being made back countless centuries ago and has lived a number of different lifetimes with long periods of suspended animation between. So she has some very old memories, but sometimes has trouble differentiating dreams from memories. She was purchased from the Pit of Pain, an infamous prison, and and taken out to be the friend and protector of the Princess Zenobia when the latter was very young, and a threat had been made against her life in order to get at her father, and has became very attached to her charge. When Zenobia fled the Gallowglass, the Ascendant Castle, Victory was sent after her, caught her, and was persuaded by Zenobia to stay with her and allow her to run away, rather than return her to her father, which went against every instinct that Victory had, but yet she felt it was the right thing to do somehow. She has remained with Zenobia, trying to protect her without stopping her from doing what she's doing. A very delicate mental challenge at times. She is a Mutawarrior, which means that she is, while she looks humanoid, she is unmistakably not, because in this case she has neon blue skin and hair. And she is preternaturally strong. But the most striking thing about her, when on first encounter, is her mount, which is a Zhevra, a creature that you might imagine a result if you took the most difficult horse you can imagine, crossed it with a rhinoceros and gave it the instincts of a predator. It's clearly a synthetic, as Umdaar, Umdaar has, many synthetic beasts. But the Zhevra is, in fact, one of the most vicious of them all, generally considered untamable. But Mutawarriors are bred to tame and ride extraordinarily nasty mounts. It's expected that the mount does as much of the fighting in an actual combat as the Mutawarrior does. And the Zhevra's name is Biting Wind, but the young princess nicknamed her as Bitsy, an appellation which has stuck. So this more than half ton of clawed, toothed, horned, horse-like viciousness is called Bitsy,
which can also climb, it turns out.
Oh yeah. Well, its claws are more made for getting the Victory's a scout. The claws are more made for getting anywhere than they are for fighting. It hardly needs any other weapons for fighting except its horns and its mass. So it mostly uses those.
Okay. Moving on, Sabine, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Lars Gloomfall.
Hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing Lars Gloomfall, who uses he, him pronouns. He is the Runesmith, a magician, I guess, basically, who uses gravity and shadows to do his thing. And the last time on this game, he helped Zenobia fool the Lord into fleeing his throne, basically. That was kind of fun. He is the grandson of the infamous warden of the Pit of Pain, which is a cruel prison, and he learned that it was pretty cruel when he did betray a little secret that he had learned to his grandmother that was not going so great for some people he talked about. So yeah, he's still trying to make up for that.
Yes, he is. He still feels he owes Thorian because I inadvertently led his people to their doom. Yeah, that's still being paid off. And finally, Will, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Thorian.
Hi, my name is Will, and pronouns are he, him, as are those of Thorian, my warrior scholar of the Rad-Folk, a pilgrim of the Rad-Folk tribe and a voyage of discovery around the world, who, is an energy being who can interact with the energy fields of other beings. Some say some kind of telepathy, telepresence, all that sort of hippie mumbo jumbo. And yeah, last session, Thorian was diminished by the fierce cold of the icequake tundra, and his physical form dissipated, so he was non-corporeal and but a whisper in the ears of his companions, a presence felt but not really heard or seen. And hopefully, upon leaving the intense near zero temperature, near perfect zero temperatures of the icequake, he will be able to reform and expend some of his energy on maintaining corporealness rather than simply surviving.
And all of that was because Will was at Glastonbury. So Thorian, the ice fortress is behind me. As the further away from the ice fortress you get, the further south you head, the more Thorian recovers both his physical form, but also his recollections. Or it becomes clear his recollection of what happened in the ice fortress is patchy, because it appears that not only was he becoming more incorporeal, but he was drifting in and out of phase with this reality. And that is to explain the fact that the podcast version of last time only has the first 40 minutes recorded. But I do want to just offer Thorian a bit of a love letter. In these flashes of slipping back into the real world and then away into the phased world, at that point of transition, it seems to me possible that you may have gained some insight into either someone or something. And I'm curious whether you want that insight to relate to one of the other three champions, or the hammer.
Interesting.
What I will tell you is that Lars determined that the hammer has a bit of a drawback, in as much as using it risks revealing a bestial nature, hence the hammer of the beasts of Umdaar.
I think, given where we are, like fictionally, I think it makes more fictional sense for the insight to be about things that were within my area, within my overview, my purview, so my companions. And I think that, the Rad-Folk elders tell of how when they've aged away from their corporeal form and transitioned to the truly, super lethal forms of high ultra radiation that give the glowing sands their name. That, however, that does, they commune with secrets and visions and things beyond, things that we can only glimpse in the fragments of our shattered communication between the younger Rad-Folk and the elder Rad-Folk.
And therefore, which of your aspects will you gain a free invoke on?
Of my aspects?
Because it seems to me that's you've got a taste of what the elders talk about. Or do you want them to have, do you want this to have revealed? Sorry, I thought that's where you were going when you were talking about the communication with the elders.
Oh no, I was just dressing up like this whole process to make it more like, it's the thing that came from that Rad-Folk do it all the time.
Which of your companions, which of their aspects will you leave the ice fortress with a free invoke on?
Free invoke. I think it will be on victory through perseverance, Vicky.
And which of those aspects do you think you've got an insight into?
I think I have an insight into I think it's an insight into I was created to serve a master. Time has forgotten my home. I think time has forgotten my home, because I think that Victoria, victory through perseverance is herself a creation of the demiurge. a creation with its own energies and own strange properties that I can perceive and glimpse. So
then that is pleasant. I'm now going to force you to use up that invoke.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to apply empathy, or do you want to use this? Yeah, no, I'm going to ask you to roll empathy with and use that free invoke.
Could you roll for me, because I'm going to need to switch to a different computer to use my XYZ.
Okay, here we go. So that is 4. That is +2. +2 for empathy is 4. +2 for the free invoke is 6.
Mm-hmm.
Against a will of 1 is success with style. What I would tell you is that victory is connected to others of her kind. Victory is not unique, and you have 2 free invokes on that. So just make a note of that somewhere.
Yeah, we'll make victory is not unique. It's
not entirely unique, is fair to say.
Yes. I was trying to think of a very pithy word, put on the word victory, right? But nothing sprang to mind. But yeah.
Oh, victory has 1,000 fathers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the classic. That's the classic one. Failure is an orphan. I don't recall who said that.
But so that is with 2 free invokes on?
With 2 free invokes with success with style.
Cool.
That is what Vicky's aura told you in those, when you were flicking back and forth from the real world to this world of pure energy. But enough of that. We will now leave the ice fortress behind and head south and east or west, Zenobia?
To the east, I think.
Okay, so towards the southeast of the continent on which all of these masters and the freelands exist, towards, I just need to check out, the name of the range of mountains is
the Rusted Ridge.
Indeed, the Rusted Ridge. And the Ascendant Castle, which is behind me. I will just say that if you check out the places and faces, you will see that I've given you some information about the Ascendant Castle, in the sense that I've given you a map, which is what you know of the broad layout, Zenobia and Vicky. I've given you a more kind of a less modern picture of what it looks like from the kind of sheer cliffside, but I've also given you some sense of what it looks like 3-dimensionally from actually, you know, if using this map behind me, this picture, if you were looking from one side, what you'd see would be that more 3-dimensional picture I've put in places and faces, because I want you to have some sense of how the castle is laid out, because it is, after all, your home.
It backs up. It backs up basically to a cliff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The Imperial Palace is being in the back is sheltered from entry by an incredible rocky escarpment that's
exactly
it's unscalable.
This up here is the Imperial Palace. This is the Burgrave's house. And so you can see that the Imperial Palace pretty much drops away pretty steeply all the way around here. And that the obvious place to arrive is actually this way. That little tower you can see there on the map is labeled the Old Gate. And that is the wall that runs up the slope towards the Great Tower. And the little bit of roof you can see here is Mary's Tower.
Yeah, ferocious defensive position, of course.
Indeed.
As any master's fortress generally is, but this one is just, you know, you have to come up a winding rope, and there's a million ways they can roll boulders down on you, and
Ghoulian did not choose this as his base of operations by accident. And so this is the location. Now there is in the quick start some guidance on how to overthrow a master, and we've not dealt with that in any detail, but there is a useful phase in that. Phase 1 is infiltration. How do you get close without anybody noticing? Because below the Ascendant Castle is the city that Ghoulian rules over. So I will be interested to know how you are going to present yourself in the city, because of course Zenobia may well be recognized.
I don't know why you'd say that. Just the street festivals twice a year where she was presented by her father before the adoring crowds.
And then I'm going to give you a chance to do phase 2 reconnaissance. And then I'm going to steal a leaf from the Blades in the Dark approach by asking you what your approach to entering the castle is going to be. So let us begin with this sense of, unless Zenobia, you want to arrive, on the back of a donkey, accompanied by palm-waving children. I don't know. Are you here to bring freedom to the people, or is this a more subtle entry?
It's a really good question. Can I poll my fellow champions here? Like, how do we want to do this?
Now the risk always at this point is that we get sucked into some planning. So I'm going to break this down into bite-sized pieces.
Sure.
What is your cover in the city to allow you to operate in the city before you have a go at the castle?
Right. Like, and what, if anything, is our cover in the city? Right. Like, are we announcing Zenobia's homecoming, or are we arriving with some false identity and pretext here?
Princess, the overarching question is, what do you want to do? Because that will perforce answer some of the others.
Surely your father will.
What is your goal? What is your goal, Princess?
I'm getting stereo. So Zenobia's been asked what the goal is, but Thorian had something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Surely your father will seize you immediately if he knows you are here.
No doubt.
Maybe we should bring some people with us, because he seems powerful, and if you could motivate some rebellious people, that might make things more even.
Well,
try to speak to the citizens.
Let me be clear. If you check out phase 2 reconnaissance, there are a set of questions there. Each of you will have an option to ask one of those questions in the narrative. So you could begin to find out, but I'm still going to ask the question, how come you're not seized at the gate of the city?
I still think the question that I've asked is germane, because are you trying to depose your father? Or are you just trying to smash the artifact?
I'm trying to strike a blow against Ghoulian. He can't be allowed to continue taking and feasting on his people's souls. So the number one priority is to bring this hammer down on the soul extractor and stop him from ever using it again.
Which, just for information, is in the top floor of the Great Tower.
Oh, of course it is. In his his private chambers.
Eerie. So the object seems to be to destroy the soul extractor.
Yeah.
So I've got to take you full circle back round to how come you're not seized at the gate, or do you want to be seized at the gate of the city?
No, I think we should save intentionally getting captured for later, just in case we need to play that card then, right? I think we should go in disguise, right? I think we should pretend to be, peddlers or some other people who are beneath my father's notice to make our way into the city and then begin our reconnaissance.
The playtest helpfully offers, what guise do your archetypes lend themselves to? Mercenaries, entertainers, artisans, traders, something else.
Princess.
So something beneath notice.
That's my thought.
Princess, the alternative, of course, and it is your choice, is to present yourself as the prodigal returned.
In any case, her father
Someone
will
sorry.
simply seize her.
Well, see, what a father sees is she has done no crime against him except to run away.
You would know the master more closely than I do, Victory, but in my experience, the Dread Masters are not one for conversation or social norms.
I would be seized, but not the princess. The princess is his daughter. And if she comes back saying, Father, I was wrong to flee, there is...
It is simply the getting captured on purpose plan with slightly more formality.
And I think he wouldn't allow her to keep the hammer, so...
There are a lot of people in the castle who love the princess.
I think for a meta conversation point of
can
view,
I just say
Victory,
that is a speculation. I see no aspect on the table that suggests that.
Yeah. From a meta conversation point of view, it is still whether we want to go with the route of captured and infiltrating head on with under the very nose of the Lord, right? Like, because there is no other way of doing it. If you go in, you are there right in beneath him, and the rest of us are going to be extremely limited to what we can do. Zenobia will be right under his nose, or the infiltration route. So we can only do one or the other.
Out of character. I'm super willing when the time comes to like roll with contacts and see if we can find friendly people within the castle. Like I like that as a thought. I think I'm leaning towards not tipping our hand about our identities right at the start. So, and I think,
to be honest with you, if you tip your hand, reconnaissance goes out the window.
I think Zenobia will say to Victory also, I've learned to lie pretty well while we've been out here. I don't think I could convincingly say that I'm contrite for running away, though. That might be beyond my power at this point.
I think I could convincingly say sorry.
Well, also,
I don't mean it.
and perhaps beyond your dignity too. I understand. I will have to take extraordinary precautions. Princess, even more than you.
I've been thinking about that, Victory. Perhaps if we had some extra bandages, you could pretend to also be a Rad-Folk.
I'm willing to do that.
Fine. So
Thorian can coach you.
We're gonna disguise Victory as a Rad-Folk. And what about Lars? What guise does Lars think works for this group?
I don't have to disguise myself as a Rad-Folk. The Ghoulian Gallowglass doesn't know who I am. Why would I disguise myself?
I'm just, so you're just going to be, you will appear to be a remorseful Dragonfolk Runesmith.
No, I will appear to be, what are we going to be, Zenobia? Are we going to be the circus? Are we going to be traders? Are we going to be pilgrims?
Tinkers, peddlers, right? Like you know your way around, craft a little bit, right? Like you could be you could kind of be, front and center if we are coming in with some kind of a cart, offering to repair people's, minor gadgets and gewgaws, right?
I've never done that, but yeah, that sounds fun actually.
Cool.
So Lars, I'm seeing a kind of tinker's wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Are you driving the wagon?
I don't know, but we have a beast that I could drive.
That was going to lead me to the next question, which is, what is Bitsy disguised as?
Horse.
Zhevra are very, very, very noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
we could throw a big shaggy pelt over Bitsy so that she's basically just a kind of indistinct large creature pulling this cart, and people will assume it's some strange beast from the tundra, right?
You could actually we could actually cover her with eye holes and such, and there are quite a lot of beasts out in the wastes that are that are hard to look at, that are huge and hard to look at, and even have horns. So
I think as long as those signature stripes aren't visible, people won't necessarily jump to it's got to be a Zhevra.
I think it's worth the try.
Okay.
I can't leave her.
How do we sit on craft to construct this disguise for Bitsy, or deceive to make it really good? What do we think? Create an advantage with one of them, and then see how it goes.
Yeah, let's try creating an advantage with craft, maybe.
Yeah,
because I feel like we're going to be rolling deceive a bunch as we roll into town.
Yeah,
so do I. So craft. So it looks like hang on. It looks like Lars is going to take a lead on craft.
Unless somebody else thinks they can do that.
Nobody else has any craft, so there's not even any team effort behind you here, Lars. This all comes down to you being able to construct this.
Yes, but Victory is very strong, so she can hold stuff up.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is about craft. So
the link.
Victory is mostly holding Bitsy as you fit this disguise to her.
I put the roll out that we both have roll with me in the
on that.
I think. So, yeah, I mean and I'm imagining. I mean, I don't know, Lars. Does this seem a bit beneath you? Actually, building stuff.
No, why would it? I like building stuff. This is actually the most fun. I feel like this is actually the moment when I'm relaxing a little, because this is something I actually know how to do. This is easy. This is kind of fun. No, Zhevra, don't bite me. And what about my scoured arm, by the way? Is that?
Yeah, I think that scoured arm is now just mild.
Okay, then.
And Thorian, your drained has gone away in terms of consequences, and I think Thorian, you need to refresh your fate points, as does Lars.
I wanted to take a stun though, so.
Okay. Well, can we deal with this roll?
Yeah.
And then I'll come to a stun.
Sure.
Difficulty, I think. I mean, it's a Zhevra.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the very difficulty is 4 here.
Oh, okay. Cool. It's the 3 is the good one, right? So I'm at -1.
Okay, so that's looking like a failure at the moment. I guess that you could. I'm not going to give you that one. I think that the narrative cost here is you do get it, but if somebody takes a really close look at it, so if you attract attention, that disguise is going to be very thin.
Yeah, okay, I like that, because I'm not willing to spend a fate point for the disguise of a Zhevra, because we're facing Ghoulian Gallowglass. I might need my fate points for something a little more important.
So we have a disguise in place, and then we'll see how you do getting through the gate. But yes, you did want to talk about a stunt. You made a suggestion offline. I suppose the question is whether you want to actually physically throw things with shoot and then correct the trajectory with your gravity powers, or whether you want to use gravity powers to throw stuff at people. Oh, you are muted.
I'm muted. Actually, I don't want to use craft all the time. That's the main point. Fine. I want to shoot for a bit, so that I can actually do something like that. And if I'm have to grab them physically and then lob them at people and use the gravity to make them faster, that's fine.
Fine. So your version would work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Okay.
And then reduce your refresh by 1, and I think that puts you at 4 fate points.
Yep. Pretty good.
Anybody else got any? I'm assuming everyone's done what they were going to do in terms of milestones. Okay, right. So approaching the gates of the city of, I keep forgetting what this range is called.
The Rusted Ridge.
The Rusted Ridge, yeah. So the city of Rusted Ridge, sitting in a valley below the Ascendant Castle. And there are, of course, some of his, I had a name for this that you gave me.
Gallow Knights.
Gallow Knights, thank you. So Gallow Knights. Now, clearly, not all his armed forces are Gallow Knights. His officer class are Gallow Knights, but most of them are men at arms of one kind or another. And so there will be, a rather portly man at arms on the gate, seeking to just make sure that nobody dangerous comes into the city. You're driving, well, I guess Vicky's up front.
Yes.
With reins, yeah?
Yeah, I am. I'm holding on to, I'm guiding our strange beast, and in actuality, just holding on to her to make sure that she doesn't take a bite at some passerby.
Okay, and Lars is up front as the tinker with you. Where does that place Thorian and Zenobia? Thorian, where are you? Are you up there on the front with Vicky?
I think the conceit is of the we are pilgrims who have joined these tinkerers on our caravan across the harsh lands of Umdaar, right? So it would make more sense to me for it to be close, I think, to my companion.
I'm curious. Is there anything that distinguishes a Rad-Folk pilgrim? Or are all Rad-Folk assumed by people to be pilgrims?
I think all Rad-Folk outside of the Glowing Sands are assumed to be pilgrims. Their nature making them quite rare outside of there.
And so seeing two together is not common.
No, it isn't. Very uncommon, yes.
Right, okay. So that turns the difficulty of 1 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the disguise is fine. So I'm not gonna mess with that. Zenobia, where are you? Are you in the wagon? I'm imagining a kind of huckster's wagon, really, a kind of solid-sided, almost a kind of circus caravan kind of thing, rather than an open wagon, unless you want it to be open.
Oh, I think good to have a little bit of cover inside the wagon. Yeah. So,
are you out of sight?
Yeah, I think that's best, right? Like I am stowed away within this wagon, fully cloaked and hooded in case inspectors, take a peek inside.
I'm with you. Now, I'm just curious whether, I'm gonna make this deceive, I think, because I think there is a sense in which how well Vicky carries this off. And the fact that there is another Rad-Folk there, it's possible for our portly gate guard to just look at the Rad-Folk walking alongside the wagon and look at the one who's driving the wagon and maybe draw some conclusions about whether there is something amiss here. But Lars, you're good at deceit, as is Zenobia. So Zenobia, I can imagine a flashback where you are coaching Vicky but have you not noticed the way that Thorian holds himself, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, that works for me to kind of try to impart some of my deceitfulness on my extremely straightforward and undeceitful bodyguard.
And so I'm going to let you roll with deceive. I'm going to give you an extra +1 because Lars is also quite deceitful and offers kind of pointers. That was much better, but so let's have you roll deceive. I think the difficulty here is it ought to be related to something to do with Vicky, oughtn't it? I think it's to do, I think the difficulty here is probably 3.
3.
Because
okay.
The whole thing about Mutawarriors is that,
they're very notable.
They're very notable.
Yeah, it's distinctly not human in fundamental ways. Also, we're all fucking soldiers.
And the slight luminous of the skin and the hair is just a different intensity and color of luminosity than Thorian. So yeah, I think the difficulty is 3.
All right.
But this is to create an advantage.
All right.
That maybe and it's -4 on the dice.
The dice are unhappy. Let me see. This is with my deceive and a +1 from Lars.
Yes. So dice and your skill gets you to break even against my difficulty of 3. So you're currently at -3.
You know what? This is Vicky is the only family I have left. So I'm going to do my darndest to equip her to enter unnoticed. I'm gonna spend the fate point and re-roll these dice.
Fine. They can't be worse than that, surely. Oh, well, that's -2. That's much better. So that's +2 on your skill in the dice versus my difficulty of 3 puts you at -1.
Yep. Do we have any free invokes lying around?
I don't think at this point you do.
All right, one more.
Just there are more meta warriors out there. I don't think that one can really apply here.
That one's more something that got invoked against us.
Be aware, Mutawarriors are on the loose.
Yeah. No, then I think I gotta spend another point for Prodigal Scion returning with a vengeance, because I don't want to have this derailed right at the start.
Fine.
There's work to do here now that I'm coming home at last.
What does that look like in our flashback? How does that display this, returning with a vengeance?
Yeah, I think as we're prepping for the infiltration, there's just a additional kind of like hard intensity in Zenobia's eyes as she is steeling herself to come home, but not as a big happy homecoming, right? Like she's coming home with a hammer.
This is serious. Okay.
Yes.
So that gets you to success. So you have, Vicky, you are going to have a free invoke for your deceive or whatever else you choose to try here. Vicky, how are you going to get through the gate without attracting attention or attracting the wrong kind of attention? You have a free invoke on, I've practiced being a Rad-Folk.
So what is my approach to the gate?
That's what I'm.
Well, I actually know the gate routines really well.
Okay.
Don't I? And I have a high burglary score, which means I know how the security things work.
Okay.
And so I know. So my approach to getting through the gate is to go to the gate guard just before shift change, when he is thinking about what he's going to be doing in 15 minutes, rather than his actual job.
I like that. I like that. So you are rolling with +3. You have a free invoke on the disguise, and I think the difficulty, because you've gone for burglary, I'm going to say the difficulty is 3.
Okay. So that's even.
And free invoke.
I'll use my free invoke. So he looks at me funny, and I just look at him and grunt. And I say something incomprehensible, which sounds as much as possible like something Thorian has said in Rad-Folk. But
which I think is probably to do this.
Yes. Right. I give him the eyeball.
And so you're through the gate. So you are in the city of Ghoulian Gallowglass. I am interested now in what form your reconnaissance takes. So what I want to do is to refer you to the Overthrowing a Master tab, where to reconnaissance. How will you find out the strengths and weaknesses of the master, their minions, and any members of the populace that might become your accomplices? Because that seemed to be the way that some of our stuff was leading. So there's a set of example questions there. But treat them as guidance, not gospel. And then what I want you to do is to set a scene, each of you, that would lead to you being able to answer one of those questions, or maybe create an advantage based on one of those questions. Now, I'm inclined to say it's a bit early, but we're 10 to the hour. I think it would make some sense to give you 10 minutes to get a cup of coffee and to think about that list, and then come back on the hour. Okay?
Sounds good.
I'll see you on the hour. Yes, so we have some questions here. The kind of questions: how will you find out the strengths and weaknesses of the master, their minions, and any members of the populace that might become your accomplices? What powerful assets are in the master's possession? Who is happy with the situation? Who's benefiting from the status quo? Who's most likely to remain loyal? What will motivate the most people to rebel? What do they want change? What do they want instead? So that's the range of questions, or a range of questions, to give you some idea. Is there anyone wants to step up and take first crack at this? I notice Zenobia has put something in the chat, so let me go to Zenobia first.
I was thinking about trying to sound the populace about which of the Gallow Knights seem least loyal to my father. There are traitors everywhere, after all. So who among the Gallow Knights seems like they might be more sympathetic to the people, or might otherwise, not be totally on board with Ghoulian Gallowglass's reign?
So let me ask you then, just frame me a scene involving Zenobia. Where are we? Who's there? What's going on? And then, we'll
so I was sort of imagining we end up in a marketplace, right? Somewhere in the midst of this town, right? There's I think this place is kept very clean and orderly, right? Because part of my father's justification for his reign is he makes the trains run on time. Not that there are trains, but he runs a tight ship. So there's some designated spot where traveling merchants are supposed to set up, right? And so while we're there, with our cover going on, Zenobia is acting as assistant working the crowd for Lars, right? We're setting up with Lars as the main craftsperson, and so Zenobia is calling out to people, bringing them over, telling them we've got a tinker who can fix that bridle for you, right? Or I see you've got a malfunctioning hover barrow. I know just the Dragonfolk who can get that working right for you. And so in this process, she's going to try to strike up some conversations, try to get a sense of what people what people resent or what people find hope in, as far as the the Gallow Knight or coming down from Ghoulian. Does that give you what you need?
That helps. One question I've got is Zenobia principally interested in maintaining her anonymity, or is she trying to get identify the right people to ask? What's her principal concern here?
I think it's got to be identify the right people to ask.
That, I think, is empathy.
Are you sure it's not contacts?
No, but that's why I was asking whether this is about her,
because you use the word right people, and the description of contacts says knowledge of current politics and connections to the right people to get you the help or information you need.
You are not wrong. Let's go with contacts.
All right.
This is potentially quite sensitive stuff.
Yes.
So I think difficulty here is 3.
That seems fair.
So contacts against a difficulty of 3 to try and get a name for a potentially disloyal Gallow Knight.
Yeah, someone we could work on. dice zero out. I have +2 contacts versus a difficulty of 3. I'm going to spend a fate point and invoke the world aspect. There are traitors everywhere.
Now, let me just put this on the table to you. If you go to Faces and Places, you will notice that I have added a suspicion clock.
Oh.
You could succeed at the cost of me marking the suspicion clock.
Well, that clock's a shared resource, so let me ask my fellow champions.
I mean, for what it's worth, there are 4 ticks in the clock for a reason. There is one there for each of you.
Should I go for it, save the fate point, or should I invoke there are traitors everywhere and get a cleaner success on this?
You did a miss by
1.
So you can fail, but the cost will be I will mark the suspicion clock because people hear questions being asked. You know.
Yeah.
You do you, Alexi, is my advice. So we're all together on the consequences, and we're all together on the end. None of us will object to you playing the game.
Victory might whisper to you.
Well, no, with respect, Vicky's not there.
Oh, okay.
What Alexi was doing was polling the table, not the characters. So gotcha. Alexi, what I'm hearing is that at least 2 of them are content to leave you with the complete responsibility.
I'm just, but I'm just saying -1 is a very good moment to use a fate point. That the dice, that is the opinion of the dice. So what make of that whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll take. You know what? I think I'll use the fate one because there may be times we have less of an option to push up to a full success on something.
Okay.
So there are traitors everywhere. So I know. And the world knows that there's no organization that doesn't have a weak link somewhere that could be exploited by those coming in to, hey, that's an awesome mug.
Very good.
Those coming in to, break up the system a little bit.
Fine. Then you get a name on Lady Zhevra. Lady Zhevra is one of the Gallow Knights. And, people tell you, oh, well, there are rules. You've got the right licenses for this, haven't you? But, Lady Zhevra she kind of turns a blind eye sometimes. She's nice to people. And so that doesn't necessarily fit with your kind of recollection of what is expected of a Gallow Knight.
Oh, yeah. Turning a blind eye is expressly prohibited by the Code of the Gallow Knights.
So I'm going to give you a free invoke. No, hang on. Is that true with just that? Yes, I'm going to give you the aspect. Lady Zhevra has questionable loyalty with a free invoke. Yeah? And you can tell me when the time comes how that pays off in a situation that matters. Okay,
sounds good to me.
Does anybody who next wants to step up and find out something about the local situation?
I have an idea.
Lars.
Yeah, because I'm talking to people about artifacts and stuff like that, and I'm a curious guy, right? And I would like to figure out, maybe not ask people and look around a little at what kind of stuff they have, just to get an idea about what kind of artifacts we can expect Ghoulian to have besides the soul sucky thing.
Well, I mean, I guess I get where you're going, but Zenobia and Vicky might be able to help you with that without having to go to the populace. Having lived alongside Ghoulian, at least.
It might be worth it to find out if anything's changed recently, right? Like updating our information for the present situation is one of the key things to do.
That's fine. Okay, so let's have Lars then. And this sounds like rapport to me.
I think I want to use investigate, actually.
Oh yeah, a more detailed kind of a more structured approach to this. Fine, that works for me. Yeah. So investigate again.
Maybe I have a better idea. Maybe I can I'm Runesmith, right? So maybe instead of just talking to people, I can investigate the magical flows in the city, because that's not something that Vicky or Zenobia would have been able to do.
I think that's cool. Yes.
Yeah.
So though you have control of gravity, or you can control gravity and shadows, I am going to allow you to investigate for the other magical flows. Does that seem fair? Okay. Yeah. So let's have you roll again. Any question? Well, I'm going to make that easy. That's 2.
Let's see how that goes. Yep, I am at 2, so that's a tie.
So in terms of creating an advantage on this, fail but you get a boost. Or fail but you get a boost.
Okay. I think I want to know this, however, and I will spend a fate point to get figure out what is the magic of the city.
Then spend a fate point, and I will give you the advantage. The castle has a force shield that is not apparent to the populace, but your skilled eye for the effect of elemental powers. I think that it needs to be something that isn't too obvious. It needs to be something that you can't just manipulate. So it's not gravity and shadows. I think that there is a turbulence around the castle that is aimed at, you guess, at making it more difficult to assail from above. Maybe forcing people to come up the walls if they're going to attack it.
Yeah, and if they come up the wall and that force field hits them, it will just blow them off.
Knock them off.
Anti-aircraft defense.
Let's put Wall of Winds with a free invoke. Yeah. Let's go. Well, Vicky or Thorian? I'm going to go Vicky then, because you're to my left.
I am. I mean, the princess has already taken the most obvious one that I had thought of.
Well, I mean, there's the possibility you could I'm not suggesting you want to use the free invoke on Lady Zura, but we now know that there is someone who at least potentially is disloyal. You could go further with that.
So actually, I'll work a different side of the same coin, if that's all right. Unless you think this is not as not interesting, which is that Vicky, ironically, even though she's a warrior, her duties in the castle mostly revolved around taking care of Zenobia, and so she was more in touch with a lot of the ordinary workers in the castle, many of whom are not particularly loyal to the master. They're kind of kept in line, but they're but some of them might well have great possibilities of assisting us in infiltrating, in terms of being a contact inside that could provide a critical distraction, or that could leave a door unlocked, or something like that, and that people, that the security people in the castle don't always notice, because to a degree they're beneath contempt.
Okay, so is this again, I'm going to ask you, are you principally engaged in maintaining your deception, or are you searching out someone on the grounds that you know them, they are a contact?
I think I am searching out someone on grounds that I know them. In fact, I'm going to probably end up revealing myself to them in the process. But
might be the narrative cost.
But not to anyone else. I mean, ideally.
Okay. Then I think that I'm going to make the difficulty. I think because you are in disguise, you have to be rather more roundabout here. So I'm going to make the difficulty 3 for you. Oh, look at that. 4 on
The
the
dice are kind, so that is a 6. Succeed with style.
Success with style. So what I'm thinking here is that the advantage, the aspect that you will have 2 free invokes on is going to be, what about a kitchen porter or someone like that? I mean, somebody sufficiently below notice, or tell me who this is.
I think it's basically the little people of Zenobia. You know, that this is 2 free invokes on the fact that the ordinary folk, the maids and the porters and the cooks and things like that, you know, all loved the little princess and mourned her leaving.
I'm going to give you 2 free invokes on the servants of the Ascendant Castle.
Okay.
Yeah. And finally, Thorian. What are you looking to find out or leverage here?
So we have discovered a disloyal Gallow Knight, correct?
You have a free invoke on Lady Zura's loyalty.
Lady Zura's loyalty. And we have Wall of Winds, one invoke, the castle's defenses. And then we have the people of the castle, the servants. So we have the people, we have the defenses, and we have the military essentially.
Well, not all of them, but yeah.
No,
enough.
but we have an aspect, is all I'm saying. Yeah, an aspect, a weak point. I think I would like to find out what has Lord Gallowglass hoarded beyond the Hammer of the Beast. What other artifacts, what other things does he have? We know that the Wall of the Winds, we know he has that. But I am a traveler, and he's been gathering things, it seems, for a while. He's more, his reach reaches further than most dreadlords, it seems.
Okay. Frame me a scene that would allow you to find anything out about that. Because that strikes me as something that the people in this marketplace aren't going to know.
No, that's true. You know what, then what I'll find out is how do people suffer under Gallowglass? What is the current state of things? The common folk, not the people in the castle, not the, I'm not looking at servants. I am looking at what is the need here for people? How can we make things better?
Is that contacts? Is that rapport?
I think that is I think it is rapport, building connections with others and working together. It's building connections with people. It's traveling and hearing their stories around the market and talking to them.
You tell them your story. Yeah. Okay. So again, I think that asking questions like this is politically sensitive. So I think this is a 3 difficulty.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's couched in sort of in other lands I experienced this kind of thing. Does that ring any bells? That is only...
That's plus 4 on the dice.
Yeah, so that's plus 6 on the dice.
Success with style.
Success with style.
I think that what is worrying people is that the lottery has become fortnightly, not monthly. And we'll work out how this turns into an aspect in a bit. But from Zenobia that on the night of the full moon, she discovered her father was consuming the light force, if not actually cannibalizing bits of his people. And there's been an announcement, the lottery that selected that person is moving to a 2-weekly rather than 4-weekly process. Does that help?
Moving from a weekly to a fortnightly.
Moving from a monthly to a fortnightly.
Yeah.
Right. Like the frequency has gone up.
A monthly to a fortnightly, yeah.
More souls are being demanded.
And can I just check in with one of these lines then?
Yeah,
because I was wondering whether or not cannibalism extends to soul changing and stuff like that.
I don't think it did. No, I couldn't remember what we described as the way that he maintains himself. So I'm just checking in.
You suck the soul out of people.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
so
takes the souls out of people.
Yeah.
it's not an organ, it's a soul.
No,
It's,
no,
okay.
it's not.
It's bad
sorry.
to eat it, but it's not
Yeah.
the same as
Sorry,
Much more palatable.
That reference just completely threw me because it didn't seem as though how we'd conceived of it
I'm sorry,
previously or before.
that was me going off track without thinking. So no, it is the extraction of souls is moving to a fortnightly regime, not a monthly regime. And that just doubles the chance that, you know, one of my family is going to draw the wrong card.
Yeah. Anyone, the lottery
also,
could take anyone as a aspect.
Say it again, Thorian.
The lottery could take anyone as a.
The lottery could take anyone.
2 invokes on that, I think. Yeah.
I want to put the stress on could.
Yeah.
Take anyone. Because the sense you get, I think, for success with style is that not everybody trusts the lottery.
Yes.
Right.
In
Could
fact,
take anyone who is not connected.
In fact, would you prefer that?
I like that. The lottery in and I put could in speech marks.
Fine.
Oh no, I'll tell you what, I'll put anyone in speech marks. That's the other way around, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah. We're all in this together.
Weird how the political dissidence numbers keep coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure there's also wrapped up in there is a worry about why, you know, has it stepped up?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly a narrative thing that perhaps is of interest to you. So
I just wanted to remind people that I have all of the aspects that we've just created over in the bottom of the notes document in bold. So if you ever want to refer back to them.
Of course you do. How do I ever play these games without you, Will? So that's fine. So this is the setup. Now the next stage is knowing what you know. And I want to tell you something else, just because, again, this is your home, Zenobia. There are bits of the castle you are more or less familiar with. Yeah. So in terms of where you used to live, the Imperial Palace is where you used to live. Yeah. So you and Vicky have 2 free invokes inside the Imperial Palace. Yeah, simply because
Just on
I know it.
Yeah.
I know the palace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each of you has 2 free invokes. Mary's Tower is where the garrison lives, and the top floor of Mary's Tower is your father's personal suite. Yeah. And so you have 1 free invoke in Mary's Tower because you didn't spend a lot of time with your father up there. He'd tended to come to the public rooms in the Imperial Palace. But you have some idea of the layout of that, but only Zenobia, not Vicky. Yeah. And then the Great Tower is his private domain. You have no free invokes on the Great Tower. Okay. Just so that I need some way to reflect the fact that you know some of the local geography once you get to the castle. So with
I think this is great.
With that in mind, my question now becomes, if the objective is to destroy the soul catcher, how are you going to get in? And as I said, I'm stealing from Blades. Do violence to a target and assault it. So, you know, are you going to charge the gates? Deception, lure, trick, or manipulate. How are you going to deceive your way into the castle? Stealth. How are you going to get in there unseen, unheard, unspotted? What's the point of infiltration? Engage a supernatural power. Short of Lars kind of propelling you over the wall, that kind of feels like a variation on assault or a variation on stealth or a tool to help you with one of the other ones, unless you tell me different. Social, negotiate, bargain, or persuade. Use some connection in the castle to get across the threshold somehow. And maybe that's the servants, maybe that's Lady Zhevra, I don't know. Or transport, carry cargo or people through danger. I guess that maybe you could use stealth to get the wagon in, but I'm struggling to see transport itself as an approach unless you've got something to offer me. So, what are we thinking? I'm going to go round the table. I'm going to stick with right to left just because, you know, why not?
Yeah.
So Zenobia, as an approach to breaching the castle, what happens once you get inside? Who knows? But getting onto the premises, which of those attracts you?
Two jump out at me. One is stealth, right? Just going in by, you know, a secret route and trying, you know, not to be seen at all, and then and then we're in and can sneak and fight and do whatever we need to do on the other side of that. The other is social, and that would be, you know, negotiating with negotiating kind of at the top or the bottom here, right? Negotiating with this you know, possible to sway Gallow Knight, Lady Zhevra, or negotiating with you know, scullery wenches or whatnot to bring us in, you know, under their auspices. And so yeah, so stealth or social stick out as possibilities to me.
Okay, moving along, Vicky.
Stealth.
Stealth.
Yes, I
Okay.
think we will need as much surprise as possible. There are traitors everywhere, so anyone you talk to, you know, sooner or later, someone will be listening in. Someone will hear, and once the information gets out to the Gallow Knights, it'll all drop in the pot. So,
Okay.
So she thinks we need to stealth as much as possible, and then rely on our contacts within the castle once we've reached the limit of what infiltration can manage.
Okay. Lars, which of these leaps out at you, if any?
I kind of like the idea that we have the help of the scullery people who will get us in, and then we'll have to use stealth when we're in, but they will get us through the gates into the castle, I guess, proper.
Okay, so social rather than so currently we have one stealth, one social, and Zenobia splitting the difference. Thorian.
Yeah, I like the you know, infiltrating the perimeter with the servants and then stealthing inside. You know, it's the getting the door open and then sneaking your way around, right? Like, because the servants only allowed in the servants' quarters. You have to go somewhere else.
I am persuaded.
So, so there were two options on the table. It sounds like it's going to be social. It's going to be using the contacts you've made or the contacts you have.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do like the Gallow Knights. We'll just display that to our many. That is how Princess Zenobia is describing the Gallow Knights, who are very cool.
Thank
no
you,
question
thank you,
about
Pinterest,
that.
for supplying the illustration. Is it loading though?
Yes,
Oh,
I haven't seen it. There we go. There we are.
Oh, right. Okay.
There it
right.
is.
Took him a moment.
Right, and there was all to stop sharing. So I'm glad that there they are, all very cool. Yes. So the Gallow Knights, one of whom has questionable loyalty. So and there were two social possibilities put on the table. One of them was to go via Lady Zhevra, and the other one was to go via the servant classes. Before you make a decision about that, I do have a question about timing.
Yeah.
I am curious whether you want this to be associated with the night of the draining.
Oh, like for maximum drama, there's some poor soul strapped into the soul extractor when we turn up with the hammer.
I simply was curious whether that was a point in the week or month that you were targeting. Is it conveniently in a few days' time, for instance, that the new lottery timings kick in, or is it next month and we needn't worry about it?
I mean, obviously we want to go for the maximum drama. My only question is, do we like get a fate point for doing this or something? Since this feels like you saying like, hey, what if you go at a time when there's more complications? And we're like,
well,
oh, okay, we'll take the complications then.
Well, I guess. that is very fair. I think that Zenobia, Alexa, you came up with folklore as a means of control.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this has been tied to the rising of the moon. Now, what no one has talked about is the fact that Umdaar has a pair of moons.
Oh, so yeah. Now it's like linking up to both lunar cycles, and thus twice as many sacrifices are called for.
And so I think I am appropriately compelling folklore is a means of control, and I am prepared to give Zenobia a fate point for that. Or you can go on a quiet night and buy it off.
I think here's my pitch. What it is we found out this information, right? That like, twice as many lotteries are happening, and then that means like, oh no, that means we don't have the time we thought. We could have waited a week and a half, right, and still destroyed the machine before he used it. But now there's another lottery tomorrow. We have to go now, right? So like we're going in with like the information we found from our initial investigation, but Zenobia is just like determined not to let another soul be taken before we smash this machine.
Can I add on to that, Alexi, that Zenobia's urgency is in part because when she was talking to people, one of the people she talked to was like, yeah, our daughter was just sent into the castle, for this thing's sacrifice, and we understand this is for the good of the realm, but we just can't bear life without her. So in other words, so
there's a sob story from the people.
Right. Yeah, that's right, and it's absolutely. Like it pulls your heartstrings. It's like not another one, not one more.
And
time to bring the hammer down.
I've just noticed that the name generators for in the playtest are of a particular kind of heritage and culture. So I am going to go with Saha, the innocent daughter of the house of a clothier. Saha, the daughter of a clothier. And that is what the announcements that are made in the marketplace say, that the Ascendant Lord of the castle is grateful to the sacrifice that Saha, the clothier's daughter, is making to the benefit of us all. And the announcement is made by the Burgrave, who is the kind of the person who runs the castle. That's the kind of major domo, with an escort of Gallow Knights and men-at-arms in the middle of the market square. And Saha comes out of the crowd. It's all very Hunger Games, and is invited up onto the hover cart, the coach, the golden hover cart coach that is used to convey her, and everyone is invited to the tomorrow evening's festivities, because in the outer ward, anyone from the city who wishes to attend, to see Saha make the walk across the bridge and thence to the high tower, is always welcome to attend, because this is something Saha is doing for all of us, and all of us should be grateful for.
Oh, they have a Pontus Asperi. I love it.
And so Sahan, the golden hover coach, is taken away up to the castle so that she can be prepared for her ascendance tomorrow. So,
yeah, and so I say to my companions, we aren't going to let this happen. We have to do this now. We're going in.
So are you going now, or are you going with the crowd tomorrow and hoping to use that as cover to get through one gate, so you're only left with the servants to get you through a second gate?
Sure, right. But we're doing this before the sacrifice. We're not.
Oh, yes.
We're not going to let another soul be taken.
Oh yes. Yes, because there is an evening of entertainment put on.
There'll be a lot of noise and all sorts of wonderful, yes.
All sorts of the wall of winds will make kites move, and all sorts of things will happen. It's a festival after all, and this is going to happen every fortnight to someone. It's amazing.
And Lady Zhevra will be there as well.
Say again.
Lady Zhevra will be there as well.
All the Gallow Knights will be in the castle, of course, because
running out in their gleaming dress armor, with the lacquer on them and everything.
It's gleaming, but it's still black.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's like, it's polished black,
Yes. In the sunlight it gleams, in the moonlight it simply swallows light. So I am inclined to cut to the following night as crowds make their way up to the first gate, into the outer ward, and up on the battlements above it. So if I were to share that picture for a moment, tell me when you can see it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So people are streaming up here to the first gate into the outer ward, and on this kind of slope there are entertainments. That's where the fireworks be set off from. And then Zenobia.
Lots of knife jugglers and people eating fire, right? Like it's all a little bit violent in its nature.
Yeah, there are no balloons. And then, of course, that at some point there will be a procession across the wooden bridge in which Zaha will be led through the castle up to the eyrie of Ghoulian, where she will ascend. Let's stop the share. And of course, that's when you notice in the distance, Lars, because you are, well, no, actually, you may not, you used to be good at this, but I'm just wondering if anybody else is now better at it.
Thorian's the best at notice if you want someone to roll notice.
Yeah, no, Thorian is the best at notice now. Yeah, sorry, I thought it was Lars, but it's not. So Thorian, let me have you roll to notice against a difficulty of 4.
Yeah, I think I've always been better at noticing than Lars.
I think I was confusing notice and investigate. Go ahead.
That is 9, 6 on the dice plus 3, 9 versus 4.
I look at that as plus 2 on the dice, plus 3 on the skill. That's 5 against my 4 is success.
Okay.
And you see an airship in the distance as you're making your way up out of the city towards the castle, up the winding road that takes the crowds up there. You will notice an airship approaching from the west. Vicky, I have to ask, what about Bitsy the Zhevra?
Oh, we're bringing in a cartload of little gewgaws, to sell to the crowd, right?
Okay, so that you are pitching at being part of the entertainments, or just riding a bit of free enterprise on the back of the crowd.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, there's going to be they're little vendors all over the place. This crowd selling, food and drink and little pinwheels and tiny fireworks that you can shoot off yourself and things like that.
So Vicky's driving the wagon up the hill.
Yep.
Lars, are you on the wagon? Thorian, are you on the wagon? Zenobia, are you on or in the wagon?
Yeah.
So you're all together. There's no merging with the crowd here.
I mean, we're hopefully overall blending with the crowd. We're just not scattering amongst the crowd.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by people for sure.
So there's a crowd with a wagon in it, and you are associated with the wagon. Is what
I think Thorian's kind of like, you get the person walking alongside the wagon, kind of like clearing the space alongside, making sure no one gets caught up under the wheels, kind of thing.
Yeah, and no one gets too close to this very odd animal.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he's obviously a Rad-Folk, and people tend to give them a little bit of a berth anyway.
So that sounds like Thorian's taking point. Lars and Victor are on the kind of where they're steering it, and Zenobia up there with Thorian in the back of the wagon. Where's Zenobia?
Yeah, I think I'm doing a little bit of crowd control because I'm also just like I'm very intensely focused on staring up at that tower where I know my father is keeping his soul extractor.
So I think then it is Zenobia's deceive that gets you through the gate, because people come, wagons tend not to. So Zenobia, I think the difficulty here is 4. I think that you can have an extra 1 for Lars's kind of work to set up the Zhevra disguise.
All right.
This is the Blade's engagement role, isn't it?
Okay, so this is the end. But this is sort of part 1 of the engagement role, because we're also hoping to use our context to infiltrate fully. Okay, but we're getting through a gate here.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Dice 0 out.
That is a tie.
My deceive is +3. You gave me a +1. Yes. Okay, so that ties the difficulty.
Okay, so succeed at a minor cost, i.e., I could simply mark the suspicion clock.
I think that's plausible, right? Like there's probably a little bit of muttering about like, what's this cart doing here?
Yeah, you can't bring that in here. What do you do? What kind of animal's that? But you make your way into the outer ward, where now you can think about your social kind of engagement with the servant classes, because there are lots of staff around. So Vicky or Zenobia, who know the staff best, who are you picking out as the person who's going to help you get where you need to get?
I think plausibly Vicky is taking point on this, but Zenobia is there to surreptitiously reveal herself and inspire loyalty, right? Like that feels like that's part of the pitch. Yeah,
I think so.
So in terms of the geography here, this is getting from the outer ward through the second gate into the courtyard outside the Burgrave's house. Yeah.
Right.
So let's have you. What approach do you take, Vicky? Is this just get up and heading for the door and hoping the servants are on side, or is there a more subtle approach at work here?
No, I'm going to.
Or do you leave the wagon and the Zhevra in the outer court?
Well, I need the Zhevra to be in.
I just say most of your engagement now is going to be inside a building. Just be aware of that.
Zhevras can move inside a building. The building might not be happy about it, but the Zhevra will be fine.
So Vicky, well, what are we seeing as you approach the second gate?
So what I'd like to do is to make there are people who have to come and go, by the gate. In fact, and the gate may well be being held by a porter at some point. And so I want to find someone who will get us in and say nothing.
Okay, so this sounds like contacts.
It is.
Yeah, so let's have you roll with contacts. Again, I think difficulty here is 3. You're right, people are coming and going, but they're people, they're members of staff who are coming and going. But
but we're making a pretext that it's like we have things for the kitchens or something like that. A barrel of found an empty barrel or something like that. That's been weighted down.
Roll the dice plus 2 contacts.
Yep. Hang on. I lost the dice for a moment here. And I got a 4.
So that's plus 2 on the dice. Plus 2 for contacts. That's 4 against my 3 is success. So you are through the second gate. You, the cart, the Zhevra, everybody is through into the courtyard outside the Burgrave's house. And from here, I guess you can go anywhere. You're now inside the castle. You're in the private space of the castle. Now, do you want to use any of your free invokes so as to turn that into success with style, perhaps? I'm just curious.
No, not yet.
Okay, so you are now inside the kind of the private bits of the castle. You are and some porter says, no, it's okay. No, we're expecting this for the kitchen, and gestures you over so you can park the cart, the wagon, in the shadows outside the Burgrave's house.
And I give the porter a big wink of thanks.
And he leans forward and says, "Mistress."
Thank you.
I'm going to unhitch Bitsy.
And now the question is, are you going to go in through the Imperial Palace and try and work your way along the battlements at the back? Or are you going to head up into Mary's Tower and perhaps try to cut off the risk of Sahar being taken across the bridge into the Great Tower? I'm curious.
So we have, so the Mary's Tower is the garrison, right? Like the
garrison down, and then your father's apartments on the upper floors.
Got it. But his, the soul extractor is in the Great Tower as far as, unless that's changed. But yeah, we expect
and your tacit assumption has always been, Zenobia, is that that's where he keeps his collection.
Yes. Well, it makes sense.
We have Mary's Tower is where Sahar is going to be.
Well, that's where she'll be robed, and then she will be processed across the High Bridge into the Great Tower.
There's a bridge between the 2 towers.
There is.
Yes.
If you look at the
overview, the bird's eye view, it's easy to see.
Nice. Oh, that's
it's like a Pontus Asperi in Venice, between the judicial chamber and the prison where the condemned person walked. Except in this case, it's not a condemned person; it's a person to celebrate. Hooray!
Yeah. An ascended person.
Thorian, just by the by, that airship is continuing to approach.
It seems to be expected, of course.
What are you, Thorian? What's distracted you?
There's an airship approaching. It must be welcomed. Or
what sort of airship?
I was hoping you were going to ask me that, because I did look out a picture of an airship that I rather liked. I just now need to quite remember where I put it. Oh, there it is.
So if Thorian draws our attention to it, we can all see the airship coming.
Of course you can. I just need to pull it up for you. Okay, and then let's try. So we've got all the bits on stage then. Oh, that's probably showing you a blank screen. Bear with.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it's propelled by oars.
Okay. So that is what is approaching.
Do any of us recognize it when we all look at it?
Well,
is it a warship? Yes, and is it a warship?
Well, that it seems to me that this probably relates to law, doesn't it? Which is knowing stuff about the world. So who wants to make a suggestion about that? I mean, Zenobia, you asked the question, your law is 2. I think, Lars, you're the person who knows most about the world. Let's have you roll law. I think the difficulty is only 2.
Yeah,
if anyone was going to have seen, designs and schematics of airships and so forth, it might be Lars.
Yeah, I'm very happy for Lars to take this.
The Ascendant Castle doesn't have any airships, so I wouldn't know them.
1 on the dice.
Mm-hmm.
So that is success by 2. Would you like to push that to success with style? I wonder. No? Can't tempt you?
No.
Okay.
Why would I do that? I don't even know what that is about. I mean,
Well, look, I'll tell you what I can tell you, right? This is one of the Skynarks. The Skynark is another master, and this is one of his airships. You've seen them before at the Pit of Pain.
Okay.
They kind of do. There's a degree of trade that they use. They carry a lot of cargo. So that's right. Now, if you wanted a boost that came out of that, that is where success with style would sit.
Yeah, but I only have 3 fate points. I might need them. So.
Okay. Only asking.
Could any of the free boosts?
Lars, what do you make of that?
That's a Skynark ship.
I mean, you've got 2.
The Skynark here now.
Yep. It doesn't make sense to
master?
use a boost. Yes, another master. And it doesn't make sense mechanically to use a boost, to use a free invoke to get a boost.
That means be a different one, just because a boost is temporary, though. You're right. So that's the point.
Yeah, the free invokes are more powerful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Princess, this is trouble. At the very least, they'll have another. The Skynark's guard will be there as well.
Well,
and why is it happening?
Vicky, we can't allow ourselves to get distracted. We have a task in front of us, and we're going to complete it. Skynark or no Skynark.
Might not be the worst thing to happen, because these masters, they don't trust each other, right?
Sure.
So if we can make the Skynark believe that he's walked into a trap, then we might actually have some help at some point.
Now, I have
I'm endlessly fascinated by your ability to prevaricate. No, I mean that sincerely.
Yes.
Thorian,
Perhaps we should move on to
plan.
our plans, though. Our troop should move on to how we will approach. Saha is to be sacrificed, will be taken into the Great Tower after she is dressed. Now, I mean, I'll be honest, this is more of I think it's a fun thing to do, but it occurs to me that there's one person here who could dress up as Saha and take her place in the ritual for maximum, dramatic kind of confrontation, because I feel like whatever we do during this ceremony is going to be a big dramatic thing. So, Zenobia?
This is a brilliant idea. Yeah, so I think like,
because we have to save Saha, don't we? I feel like that would be the priority of brave heroes such as ourselves, no matter what
we can't let her. Yes, and we can save her before she sets foot near the soul extractor.
Perhaps it's even
pull a switcheroo.
Presents an opportunity. She will be brought straight in to, and of course, the sacrificial veil will keep you hidden until the right moment, princess.
Victory turns a little purple. Which is her blanching.
Yeah.
The question becomes, how are you going to get into Ghoulian's part of Mary's Tower, which is where the robing will be taking place?
I think we need to seek out our possible sympathetic Gallow Knight and see what we can do. See if we can bring.
Can I suggest that
Lady Zhevra onto our side?
This might be an opportunity for Victory to case the joint.
Yes.
I think burglary against a difficulty of 3 would give you perhaps the best options. Victory.
Yeah, we're in the castle. What's the best way into the tower?
Now that you've come on this idea of heading for his part of the of Mary's Tower.
You do know Mary's Tower?
I didn't roll both dice. For some reason, they didn't both roll.
So it's +2. Re-roll the 5.
Yes.
That's -1. So -1.
3.
Difficulty
I know
3.
that. I know this place. I'll spend one of those.
Fine. So that's your free invoke on I know this part. I know Mary's Tower.
Actually, it's a free invoke on I know the palace.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
You've got one free invoke on Mary's Tower. How to get into Mary's Tower?
Yeah. Alexei has Zenobia as one free invoke on I know Mary's Tower. Both Vicky and Zenobia have 2 free invokes on I know the palace.
Yeah.
So the question, can we stack them on this do we need one more invoke?
I don't think so. I think that given that your target now is Ghoulian's rooms at the top of Mary's Tower, the best way to get to the tower is, I will give you an option. The best way is either to go onto the battlements and up the outside, or to go through the garrison and go up. It will be easier, physically easier, to go through the garrison, but it will require a different set of skills than climbing up the outside.
Imagining like an old boy fight scene for the entire garrison,
So I'm just putting that on the table. I want to give you the choice. Those are the 2 options. They take a different set of skills. Victory,
what can you tell me? You've cased this tower. How should we be approaching it?
There are only 2 ways up. The one is to try to defeat the tower is designed as a series of garrison rooms from floor to floor to protect the topmost part, which is where we have to go. So we could fight our way up. They won't be heavily garrisoned at this time, and they won't be expecting this sort of thing, but it will primarily be a series of fights. The other thing is that we could
can I just, before you think of this as a series of fights, you remember you have got free invokes on servants and Zhevra.
Yes, it's possible that we could get that some of them a distraction could be made in order to empty out the bottom garrison. It's possible that the Lady Zhevra could likewise, if we prevail on her, see that her garrison is busy doing something else.
Moving through the garrison seems to be the preferred option then.
Yes, and the alternative is to try to scale the walls, which is possible, but it is staking all or nothing. Because if we are spotted on the walls, the strategy shatters.
We've done enough trying to climb into masters' domains. We're going into the garrison.
If it were only myself, I would go up the wall. But it is not.
All effort at stealth, social, deceive, all of that will be more difficult with a Zhevra in tow. It's going to be, because it's a Zhevra, or it's a big animal that nobody's seen before. Any of those in the corridors of Mary's Tower is going to make any social interactions or stuff more difficult. I just want to put that up front.
And
Oh, well,
can
I've got something actually.
Make an oh, sorry, you were going to say so, because I was just
Go
thinking
on.
about making an aspect to make it to make some fictional positioning for the Zhevra to be
Well,
on call. As
I've got so I was gonna possibly I'll like Zenobia like looks at Vicky and says, I'm putting a lot of trust in you to get into this place, but we might need Bitsy to stay behind. She can create the distraction that draws the garrison out while we head in. I know it's a lot to ask for you to proceed without her, but it might be what we have to do. Do you understand? And I will invoke, I was created to serve a master, because Zenobia is, taking this occasion to actually like put some authority here into her plan.
Vicky,
That's a compel.
That's a compel.
Victory looks, I need to underscore it. Victory looks you in the eye and says, "Is that an order?"
If it has to be, yes.
If it's
I'm sorry,
compel, it is.
I don't know if it has to be. I understand. I'm trying to get conversational here to say it.
You need me to do this? Yes, it's an order. Have Bitsy help here. We'll go up the tower.
As you say, mistress.
You can have a fate point, Victory.
Okay.
So
So I'm going to talk to Bitsy, and I'm going to explain to Bitsy just what kind of trouble to cause. Which doesn't require all that much explanation. And it's not like she really understands language, but there is she's been trained to do this very thing, to run wild and cause trouble.
And we will discover how well she's been trained later.
Mhm.
But for now, it is 2 minutes past the hour. I'm going to suggest that we take an 8-minute break and get back in the table at 10 past. Okay. So we come back to find our champions having left Bitsy in the courtyard outside the Burgrave's house. Now faced with having to infiltrate and climb up through the bowels of Mary's Tower. I can't see that this is anything other than either trying to convince soldiers to let you pass, or looking for opportunities when soldiers don't notice you.
Yes.
My inclination is to go with stealth. And I think that probably puts Lars front and center. So Lars, this is about, picking the right time when, because some of the fireworks have begun. And so this is now about picking the right time to make the move from this doorway to that doorway, and then through there into this staircase. And then the lights will go off outside and the soldiers will look that way. So I think this is stealth. I'm going to give you an extra bonus, but I have to tell you, this is an enormously difficult challenge.
I would like to use my shadow magic in preparation for the whole thing.
Because I'm going to tell you now, the difficulty to get to the top of this tower and into the robing room without being noticed, the challenge is 5.
Okay.
So if you want to create an advantage in advance, that would be fine. So yeah. This is craft. I think the difficulty, because of the fireworks and shadows are moving about, I think the difficulty here is only 3.
Okay, cool. Oh wow, I've rolled +3 and I have 4, so I'm at 7. So yeah, that's successful start. We are very shadowy.
Shadows at my beck and call with 2 free invokes.
So we're like kind of like doing our like cool walk together, and then like shadows like swarm around each of us, right? Like cool.
And it's almost like Lars is just scooping them out of the corners of rooms.
Yeah, a lot of shadows
to
here.
wrap them around you. Yeah. So that is going to make life a lot simpler. So as I said, the difficulty to get up to as far as Ghoulians part of this building is a difficulty of 5.
Yeah.
So this is using stealth. Do your thing, Lars.
I'm doing my thing. Let me do my thing. It's a +1, so I'm at 3. I need a 5. I will invoke one of the shadow thingies. So I'm at 5. It's a tie.
Do you want to take my free invoke on I Know Mary's Tower?
I think I would like to do that. Yes, that makes a lot of sense because I don't know my way around, but you do. So
that makes sense. And you know Zenobia, that there's a kind of back staircase, the servant staircase. It still goes up via each garrison barrack room in turn, but it gets you up there with success. So
it's way more rickety than the fancy staircase that the Gallow Knights take.
And so this takes you up to a hidden doorway in one of the top 2 floors. And it's one of those kind of hidden doorways where it's plaster and Baroque decoration on one side and just servant's door on the other side. And so you are emerging into Ghoulian's domain, if you will. These are where his most trusted servants are to be found. This is where his personal bodyguards are to be found. This is where
are there any dermiurgic artifacts that might need checking out?
Sadly, no. His collection is in the Great Tower.
Are you sure? Okay.
Cross the bridge. We can spend fate points to like establish truths, right? Like
if
add
they relate
elements to scene.
If they relate to your aspects, yeah. An aspect.
Yeah. So I'm wondering about spending a fate point to say that Lady Zura is the Gallow Knight, assigned here to the sacrifice.
Look, I wouldn't even make you do that. If you want to use the free invoke on Lady Zura's loyalty to make sure she is here.
I mean, though, to be honest, I think I'm sort of thinking like, making sure she's here so that we can use that invoke on her, right?
But I mean, it's the same economy, isn't it? At the end of the day,
that's
it is, but narrative.
It's a fate point now or a fate point later.
I think that's fair. So Zenobia, by all means, spend a fate point in effect to create the narrative that Zura is in command of Ghoulian's bodyguard tonight.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And so that does give you the option on her loyalty coming to your aid. Nice. So now the difficulty of getting through Ghoulian's apartments to the robing room without being seen is a difficulty of 6.
Because there's like bodyguard patrols moving all around here.
Exactly. And also, you're not moving up through some dimly lit bits and bobs. This is the inside of Versailles.
Right. We no longer have the back staircase to rely on.
You've still got the free invoke on the shadows, but it's more difficult to make it work. So again, Lars, I'm going to come to you for stealth because you are the best person for spotting tricky routes.
I I grew up in the pits of pain. It's kind of this is not that difficult. I think maybe
this is
maybe
very fancy compared to the pits of pain.
Wow, I've got a -3.
-3 on the dice.
I think I will re-roll them using the
you've got an awful lot of free invokes to play with.
Yeah, that's why I want to use one of the free invokes, maybe on the shadows, to just re-roll that because that's terrible. Maybe
tuck into a shadow instead of
-1. Okay, I could have just used the invoke for +2, but anyway, so we are at with -1. We are at 1. We need a 5, and we need a 6.
You need 6.
We need 3. We need actually 3 aspects to swing that. That we can do, I think, can't we? Because I will invoke one of my own aspects. I'm a watcher from the shadows. I'm actually not that.
You're good at this. Fine.
I can give you one of my free invokes on I Know the Palace.
Yeah.
Oh no,
further.
let's be clear. You're not in the palace.
No,
you're in
we're
Mary's
not in the
Tower.
palace.
We're in the-
You've
But-
used the Mary's Tower one.
But
Wait,
servants
which
of
is
you could
where is the palace then?
Oh, the palace is
Look
this
at the
building
overview.
here. You
Yeah.
are in this tower here.
We've progressed beyond the palace.
You've gone beyond
Okay,
the
so
palace.
we
You
kind of
avoided the palace.
skipped the
Yeah.
palace.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Sadly.
Well,
Yeah.
the things of interest were over here, so
Mhm.
that's fine.
Okay.
But servants of the castle is an invoke
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
use.
Okay.
A
Then-
critical warning from a maid who goes, "It's not yet."
yeah, or maybe somebody drops the plate and creates a little
Right?
distraction.
Yeah, that's
something
right.
like that.
Oh my God,
Okay, I need another +2.
Which could be Lady Zura's dubious loyalty.
Mhm. Yeah, that might be. Do I need to pay fate point for that?
And no, that's a free invoke.
Then I'll take it. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe she's looking the wrong
exactly.
way
She sees you.
and turns
And
to
she
berate the
looks
maid
away.
who dropped the plate or something like that. Yes.
Yeah. And this puts you on the threshold of the robing room,
Yeah.
Zenobia.
Okay.
Now, Zenobia, let's have you roll with law against a difficult, because you've never been in here for a
No.
robing.
Oh no, certainly. Like this is the major aspect of his reign that my father tried to keep from me for all these years, and
So I think
discovering it is what led to me running away. So
difficulty is 5 then, to know
Okay.
what to expect or to create an advantage around the robe. I have an idea what's going on.
all
Can I
right.
help you out because I have a general idea of how rituals and stuff like that work? I've read stuff about it, not that I never thought that people will do that, but maybe I can help you out.
I think this is so specific to this castle and this process that I think that you're stretching your law is going to be stretching it too far.
Be stretching the law of a Rad-Folk who can commune with the energy of the. If I was,
I think I would go with that. I think that's
especially because you may be able to pick up stray thoughts, right, from the
Right,
people
like
inside.
psychic residue from the previous
certainly
victims.
from
thoughts,
Sahar.
the
Certainly
thoughts and
from
dreams of
Sahar,
memories
right?
of people
Sahar's
left
not
behind.
guarding.
hang on,
Sahar's not
I'm
guarding.
just getting talk.
Yeah.
Thorian.
The thoughts and dreams of people left behind, taken by the soul
Yeah.
sucker.
So you get +1 to your law then.
Great.
Does he get my law? No, it's +2.
No, you get
+1
for
per
everyone
person. I
helping.
apologize. I missed
So difficulty is 5. That's -2 on the dice.
Boy, it's not
Down 4.
it's not great here.
-4 is what we're looking at so far.
What have I got any more useful free invokes? Okay, here's a thought. The lottery could take anyone, right?
Okay.
Anyone. All right. So there's just there's been this whole undercurrent of rumors and speculations about what becomes of those taken by the lottery in the town. So if I invoke that, can I take one of those free invokes for
You
this?
can.
If I'm racking my memory for like what clues did we learn when we asked?
I think that
around.
could be really useful in terms of everybody's attention, right? Like, is about the lottery. Because here is somebody, it's not me. I'm not in the lottery. Like, they're focused upon the lottery.
Can I just remind you that you can always mark the suspicion clock?
Well, we what do you mean? Like we could that could be a consequence if we screw up, but we can't.
You could simply fail
Mhm.
and mark the consequence as a consequence of turning failure at a cost.
Let me. So,
how far are we up now?
You've only got 1. You've got 3 to go. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. I'm struggling to see how the lottery could take anyone. How's that's going to help you with what's going on behind that door?
Yeah, that seems more for about persuading people that this is, to let.
I was thinking it in terms of, if everybody, I know that if one person out of a big group of people had to go off and die, then when that one person was chosen, I would just be looking at that person and going like, Okay, like it's all good, it's all fine, and we don't need to worry about like the other people around us because they're the only thing that's gonna. But I suppose that would mean that we're more focused on that person, right? So yeah. How about some
Just
some
take the
things?
fail and turn it into success at a cost. I don't know why we're
Take the fail.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
any of the
considering.
other
I
things
guess
with fate
so.
points.
I'm not invoking any aspects
No,
here. Yeah.
no,
Or
just
free
mark it.
invokes.
The cost of failure or turning failure into success at a cost is that you have to actually look in. Yeah. So suspicion goes up.
To 3? Is that where we're at?
No, you're still at 2.
Just 2. Great.
Yeah. The cost is it's a narrative cost.
All right.
Once the clock is filled, I'll have an aspect and an invoke.
No.
And inside, you can see that she is being dressed by 3 of Ghoulian's courtiers.
Mhm.
So you know what's behind the door now. What are you going to do? Anybody?
I think
Rush them, says Vicky. Vicky rushes them.
Well, I'm going to cast an eye at Zenobia.
I'm just conscious that you
just
seem to be
pressing
very worried at every step, guys.
I'm not worried. That's why I'm going to rush
it's a
them.
big infiltration thing. Yeah, I think I say,
Get them.
all right, we can take them. Let's go. And
Okay.
Fast and
I'll
furious, like the
fling-
zebra.
Yeah,
fling
no,
the door open.
Actually, in preparation to this, Vicky has yanked off her Rad-Folk things because she needs her shoulders free.
Yeah.
And that thing has been bothering her for 2 days or whatever it is now.
So
I can't even scratch properly.
Is this a simple approach to subdue them, Vicky?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fight. The difficulty is 3 because there are 3 of them. You can have +1. Gosh, there's not a lot of fight out there, is there? You can have +1 to that.
Okay. Well, the +1 suffices.
Fine. Because Thorian pitches in.
The dice back out of the way, and Thorian and I
and you have subdued
bang
them.
their heads together.
So you have 3 maids of honor and Zahar cowering in the corner, wondering what on earth's happening.
Yeah, so I'm approaching Zahar, right, to say, change of plans. Your courage is appreciated, but your sacrifice is no longer required.
Princess Zenobia?
I'm home, and I'm going to need those robes.
I didn't know you'd been away.
Oh, really? Did that news not spread around?
Your father would have had no incentive to let anyone know his daughter had suddenly disappeared. I'm sure you've been in seclusion, contemplative seclusion or something.
For the past memorable months, I've been exploring
I don't understand.
this world. I've learned more about who my father is and who his allies are. And these masters, they have to be confronted. People like you deserve better than Ghoulian Gallowglass. And so I'm back to try and make things right.
And she's clearly confused because she points at Vicky and says, but she told everyone that you were just ill.
What?
Vicky freezes. I just freeze solid at that.
I look at Vicky in confusion, look back at Zahar. When did this happen?
I mean, how long ago did you run? Months ago.
Yes. Yeah. Mumble months ago. I don't know if I can pin it down exactly right, but yeah. So she's saying that, like, you know, Vicky has been around telling people that Zenobia is just ill.
Yeah. Because you always used to be together whenever you came into the city. And then she started turning up on her own and saying, oh no, Zenobia's ill.
Vicky, did my father have any other Mutawarriors?
Ah,
I wouldn't know.
that's what I sensed. It all makes
Did-
sense now.
What do you mean?
Well, there was.
You can
it's just like a
hear
blur.
the sound of an airship approaching the Great Tower. Lars, you will sense, because you sense the Wall of Winds. The Wall of Winds has been lowered.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're welcome here.
Your father may have had another mutant warrior in suspended state, but
Great.
I didn't know. I swear to you, I had no idea.
Fair. I believe you. Another complication, but that's fine. It doesn't change the plan. We still move forward, and I'll
Mickey fingers her mace and says, "Yes, a complication."
I take Sahar's hand, right? And I say, listen, my father has been lying to you. He's been lying to everyone. He was lying to me for 18 and a half years. But now's the time for the lies to be exposed. I'm going to face him. You need to get back home. Lars, can you gravity shield this no longer sacrifice to safely deposit her outside the castle?
Perhaps our servant friends may be able to slip her out.
There we go. Yes.
We'll worry about whether that was a safe exit or not later, but certainly...
No, I have a pitch actually.
Oh, go on.
I say yes. Show them this. And I put some pull some distinctive piece of jewelry right out of my bag and hand it to Sahar in the hopes of rolling with resources to put her in good stead to escape from the castle.
Look, I'm prepared to burn the final because I'm conscious of the time. I'm prepared to burn the remaining servants of the Ascendant Castle. Have you use up that stunt to know that she is going to be safe?
Cool. So with that invoke and that stunt, there's no need for a roll. I buy it.
No.
Hey, we saved somebody.
So beyond that door is the bridge into the Great Tower. Do you take it? And if so, do you take it in the disguises of the handmaidens and Zahar, or do you just charge across it?
I think we gotta do the surprise suckers approach here, right? Where I pull the golden veil and robe over, since I'm conveniently the same height as Zahar.
I have to, as you get into these disguises, one of the handmaids looks at Lars and says, "Aren't you kind of small for a handmaiden?"
Yeah, I'll build something, and my shadow will grow a little larger.
And then you process across the bridge, and of course, the crescendo of the ceremonies outside has reached, and as you walk across, they're, "Hey, well done, Zahar! Hey!" The crowds in the outer ward are cheering as you make your way in slow procession, one handmaiden in front. Who's that?
It's Vicky, I think.
And two behind, Thorian and Lars. Into the vast space. Most of the top 3 floors of the Great Tower is one vast atrium. Light from 1,000 candles illuminates this space. But you can see that the airship has docked. You can see that there is the airship has docked with one of these doors come windows at the top level. And there are 2 people at the top of the staircase running down to the floor below. Granny Ingvi and Petal. And 3 chained Rad-Folk.
What?
In the center of the room is Ghoulian Gallowglass and Vicky. Thorian, what do you do?
So in this room, there are the Rad-Folk, Vicky.
Rad-Folk are up there.
Yeah.
With Petal and Granny and Ingvi.
Uh-huh.
Down
so like
here on
they're
the
being
floor,
brought from the prison, we think.
that seems to be the case, or from wherever in the intervening time, Granny has rounded some more up.
I think that Thorian is going to tense and ready himself and communicate to the others via thought that when the fighting starts, I'll handle Petal.
Okay.
And I'm basically like ready to just, as soon as anything kicks off, is like the first thing is like, now I leap up to the, the veranda and attack kind of thing.
It's cooler, I think, if they are halfway down the stairs.
Yeah. We're going to do the Errol Flynn fight on the stairs. I like that. Yeah.
We are. Vicky is beside Gallowglass as he tinkers with his machinery, and he turns and says, yes, Zahar, isn't it? Do come, please. It is time for your ascendancy.
And where are we in relation to, like, as we exit the bridge, are we on the same level as the,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, all of these floors are one.
Nice.
So you come across on a bridge into this enormous space.
Massive verticality to this space. Yes. Cool. Yeah. So I think I'm continuing to play the part for the moment, and just approaching the soul extractor, and underneath the veil, I'm like looking for like where's the right place to hit it with the hammer to bring this whole thing down.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's because this is an enormous space, because this is an enormous machine.
Yes, it's like crazy Kirby-esque thing, right?
And it comes down to this kind of throne-like structure in the center. You go up some steps onto this plinth. There's a throne on, and then there's this kind of enormous machine.
Who sits on the throne? Does my father sit on the throne, or does the sacrifice sit on the throne?
The sacrifice sits on the throne. It's
beautiful.
Because that is where ascendancy, that's only proper.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so he stands to one side and says, Saha, please come, take a seat. Vicky, what do you do?
My focus is on spotting the likeliest place to use the hammer.
Okay, so investigate, or create the advantage. I know how to destroy this.
Unless it's notice, right? Like if it's
I think it's a complicated machine. I mean, notice I think it's investigate.
Does
your battle reflexes thing? Oh, you traded that in for a different stunt.
It wouldn't work for investigate. Okay. It's only on notice.
Got it.
Well, look, Vicky is thinking about it. I'll come back to her in a moment. Lars, what are you going to do?
My grandmother is here. I'm a bit surprised, but yeah, okay. There's a big machine, right? I mean, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's a Zenobia advantage at this point here.
There's probably artifacts all around.
You all froze then.
Yes.
So I have no idea what you said.
I would like to look if I can figure out some kind of artifact or something. Maybe let's say the wind machine thingy, right? Because that would be really awesome if I could pervert that and kind of blow the Skynark's ship out of the sky, and also maybe cause a little chaos here.
So I think this is investigate to see what you can find, what opportunities there are here. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is overcome. This is a complicated. I think this is 6. It's an enormous machine that seems to be connected. There are things whirring. There are colored lights. It's just mind blowing.
I don't think I can swing that actually. So I probably should. It's too I'll try.
Roll the dice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
I think that's a lost cause.
That's an absolute abject failure.
And unless you break cover and mark the suspicion clock.
Of course I break cover and mark the suspicion clock. The cover is going to be blown anyway.
So one of the handmaidens is drifting over to examine something on the wall.
Yeah. Right?
And so, yeah, it might be possible to use the simple power in this thing to influence the wall, the winds. Vicky.
Yes, I've decided the devil with it. I'm going to start smashing until something important breaks.
So you're just going for the nearest piece of machinery.
Correct.
Okay. Then fine.
This machine boggles me. I look at it and it's got cables, it's got, the flickering blue lights and things like that. And at a certain point, I just shake my head and I go, the hell with it. If I break enough things, it will stop working.
Fine. I have another clock in my mind, which has got destroy the soul catcher. So this is simple brute physique.
Yes,
I'm going to give you, you've got to shrug out of the disguise to free your shoulders up, obviously.
Yes.
So let's have you go with physique against this.
I know, and I have
how many of my clock you can mark.
Okay. So. The dice are retiring. And so physique with my stunt is a 4.
Okay, so 4. So I'm going to mark 4 on my clock.
Of course, the hammer comes out. So I have to pull that thing out.
How many ticks are on this clock? Or is
there
that
16 ticks on this clock?
Oh, great. Okay.
So I'm actually going to I'm going to hit it hard.
Do you want to spend a fate point to invoke the Hammer of the Beasts of Umdaar?
I do want to spend this fate point to the Hammer of the Beasts of Umdaar. I'm also going to invoke I am not permitted to fail.
Okay, then
I will put 8.
That'll put 8 on.
8 on.
Lars, let me go to Thorian, because in a moment we're going to have some kind of what? Who is this? You are not Zaha. Thorian, what do you do?
As Vicky smashes the equipment, I think that's my cue to bound up the stairs and intercept this petal and the delegation from the Pit of Pain with their Rad-Folk prisoners.
Okay.
And land dramatically in front of them, pulling back the robe, of course, to reveal the glowing face of a Rad-Folk. And perhaps one of the other Rad-Folks goes, Thorian!
Let's have you roll the dice then, because this sounds like your athletics, isn't it? They are quite a long way up. It's going to be 4, and if you succeed, I'll allow you the overflow of success as damage on arrival.
Okay.
And I'm assuming your target is, as you said, Petal.
Yes, yeah, the person who I think is maintaining this prison guard kind of thing.
Okay.
So you said it was difficulty of 4, right?
Yeah.
So it's -3 on the dice. Plus my 4 of athletics is 1. So then I need
-3.
-3. I don't think we have any remaining free invokes there.
Just to satisfy me, why don't you mark the final suspicion clock?
You know what? It seems appropriate to mark the final suspicion clock.
Okay, so that will get you there, but not with any overflow. But when you arrive, Petal will deploy his punch glove and hit you with +2. So would you add 2 physical stress, please? 2
physical stress.
Yeah. Zenobia, what do you do?
How is my father reacting to the scene all around?
And what are you doing? He says to me, and then he looks at well, one of the other handmaiden has wandered off to one side to look at what looks like some machinery, and then the other one throws off their veil and glows and bounds up the staircase.
Yeah. So the
going
jig
on
is
here?
up. The jig is up, but he's distracted for a moment. It sounds
He is
like
distracted for a moment by events. Yes.
I fling off my veil and pull one of the daggers out and try and like get like behind him with the dagger, held to his throat as I say, Father, your feasting is at an end. The souls of your subjects will be free.
Well, look, this is going to take athletics to get up onto the podium and behind him.
Wait, I thought I was on the podium.
No, Vicky and Lars took matters into their own hands.
Got it.
So he was inviting you up. I think it's athletics to put yourself in that position, unless you want to take a different approach, given that you are not standing next to him.
No, I gotta do this. So I'll try athletics for it.
Okay. His athletics is not to be sneezed at, actually.
Oh, really?
No, he's quite a chunky chap. So his athletics is 3.
Well, let's see what the dice say. Okay. Plus 2 on the dice against 3. I'll spend a fate point on Prodigal Scion returning with a vengeance, which is, the most appropriate moment for that spend, I think, to make that a success.
Fine. By how many?
Just by 1.
By 1. So you have leverage if you want to try now some kind of social deceit, rapport, provoke, whatever. I think it sounds more like provoke than anything else. Lars, you are at this machinery. Your grandmother is up there with a couple of Rad-Folk, and Thorian is engaged with Petal. What are you going to do?
I am starting to push buttons, I guess. I mean, this is a machine, right? I've studied machines.
You have.
I think I might not be able to really understand how it works or repair it or anything, but might be able to make it go haywire.
Let's have you roll with crafts.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm treating, how well you do with crafts as an indicator of how much of my clock you're messing with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Really want to mess with your clock. See how that goes. Oh, it's a +2, so I'm at 6. And since we're messing around, I am a runesmith. I'm at 8.
And the machine makes a whale. And you can see that some of the various bits of apparatus that are spinning about in this vast space appear to change their orientation. I'm now starting another clock for when it's going to blow up.
Oh my. Do I notice that it will blow up?
Well, I think that that if some of those pieces of technology collide and they're now falling out of the orbits that they were in, you could have a problem.
If it which thing might blow up? Is it
the machine?
The demiurge
soul extractor?
Soul extractor, yeah.
If it blows up before we destroy it, does that also count as destroying it?
It does. The question is, how close are you to it when it does?
Well, I'm quite close right now.
Yes, you are very
FYI.
close.
Yes,
there's lightning kind of coming from it now, striking the throne next to you, Zenobia. Vicky, the other Vicky has charged towards you. And do you turn and face, or do you carry on with hacking at the machine? Either trying to now slow down the rate at which it blows up, or do anything else? Or are you going to defend yourself, turn to face?
I am not going to defend myself.
Didn't you hear that?
I am not going to defend myself. I am going to try to break this. No. Okay. The other one may be strong enough to prevent me, but we'll see.
I think that I think that they are going to just go for you. Sister, she screams, and hits you with a large mace. And you're ignoring that, yeah?
Yes, I'm just taking it.
So her fight is 6. So would you like to defend against a 6? I am going to use her magical weapon stunt, which is really shouting, I was always the better one, which will make it 8. Would you like to roll the dice against
I'm doing
8?
it.
That's +1, so that's 7.
+1. So, well, you have an 8. +1, I have a 4 so far.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were ignoring the attack.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said to roll my defense against it. I don't.
Yeah. Sorry, it's. I just need.
Oh,
to know
it's
what
just a straight modifier.
Yeah.
You just modify your attack. I get it.
Yeah. So, would you mark 7 stress, please, as she uses her inhuman strength to batter you across the room?
Yes. Is there? Can I invoke anything to?
What would you like to? You got fate points to burn. What do you want to? What do you want to do?
I say to her, she said I was always the better one, to which my rejoinder is, except at choosing a master.
Okay.
And
spend a fate point.
I'd like to spend the one of Thorian, with permission, one of Thorian invokes of There Is More Than One Me.
Okay.
Because those were advantages.
Yeah, because you were kind of expecting this.
Yes.
So we're down to just 5 stress. Do you want to spend invoke?
I will. I will. I will spend 1 fate point, unless there's another invoke that makes any sense.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is.
Mark 3 stress.
I'll spend 1 fate point and mark 3 stress.
Fine.
So
Thorian.
Crutch.
Yeah. So Thorian, you're up there with Petal. What do we see you doing?
I think we see that first punch with the punch glove, bang, and then Thorian, roll out over the staircase, and then use that momentum to sort of swing back around, and let's have a fight again, I think.
Yeah, you don't have anything that turns your athletics into fight, do you?
No, I just have a fight of +3.
Okay, so 3 against Petal's 4. And his punch glove still counts, so that's against 6. Go for it.
I'm currently at 3 off the dice. The dice have evened out. I have 3, he has 6, so then I have 3 left over that I need to make up. I will invoke my Warrior Scholar of the Rad-Folk.
Fine.
To put me at
makes it
-1.
You could just mark that as stress. Or do you want
to? What would happen if I mark that as stress?
That's it.
So do I exchange harm? Do I deal him any harm?
No.
Don't deal any harm. I need to get more
so.
positive to deal more. I see. So actually, then I will spend a fate point to reroll. So I apologize. Okay. No, I didn't roll both dice. I apologize.
Oh, you got 2 on the red, 5 on the
now even worse.
3.
Even worse. I'll just take the consequence.
That's 2 then. 2 stress. Or mark a consequence. Take your pick.
Well, my physical stress fills up, so I mark a consequence anyways, don't I?
Okay. Lars, you've pressed buttons. You've set off the self-destruct mechanism, it appears.
Yeah, and then I turn towards my grandmother and I say, "Hey, Granny, good to see you. If I were you, I'd run because this thing is going to blow in 5 seconds. The actuator is refracting off the mirror wall. So you know what that means. Get out here."
I think...
and I'm using deceive because that is not precisely what will happen.
Okay, let's have you work your deceive against, I guess, for Granny, it's...
Will, right?
It's her craft.
Oh, it's her craft, okay.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, because I was trying to bullshit her with my expertise. What's her craft?
4.
Okay, that seems kind of doable. Not the way the dice roll right now, but you know. Oh wow, I've rolled +2. That make well, no need to spend fate points. I'm 1 over. So
she is retreating up the stairs, leaving the Rad-Folk in place. She's losing interest in them quickly.
Good.
And is heading back towards the airship.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm totally willing to let her go because I mean she's still my grandmother, right?
Zenobia, your father says, Zenobia, don't be so silly. Would you defend against his rapport, please, using your will? Because you know I've always loved you. All I wanted was for you to come home.
Yeah, I will steel myself against his fatherly entreaties.
His fatherly entreaties are 6.
Interesting. Does my indomitable help here?
You tell me.
It's against provoke attacks specifically related to intimidation and fear.
He's deliberately avoiding intimidation.
Yeah, it's
the soft.
Yeah, it's the kid glove approach. Sure.
It is.
All right. I'll roll my normal will here. Dice 0 out. What was I trying to beat again?
6.
I've got a +3.
You're going to mark 3 mental stress in a moment unless you come up with an alternative.
Well, I can take the mental stress. Basically, like I can hold my ground at the cost of stress here. Is that correct?
Yeah. He's going to erode you, he hopes, to the point where you kind of give him a hug and come home.
Yeah. So like she's like inwardly wincing, right? But outwardly she's saying, you can't trick me anymore, Father.
Well,
I need you to call off your dog. Let Vicky finish her work.
Well, he is going to spend a fate point, I think, to invoke his aspect, Weaver of Lies. So would you mark another 2 stress?
Sure. I've up to 5 mental stress now, but at least I've got
all those consequences, though. All those consequences. Back to Vicky as you face off. Perseverance.
But we have a name now.
Perseverance through force always trumps perseverance. Force trumps perseverance as she stalks towards you. And you do notice she moves differently. She is no rider.
No, she's a frontline warrior. And yeah, you thought I was strong, princess. But I took that hit in order to be able to take another shot at the machine.
You did.
Let me resolve that.
So go ahead. Oh wow.
+3, that is a 7.
Okay. So
and I'm going to invoke again. I am not permitted to fail, to break it the rest of the way. I hit some critical conduit. Finally, I batter through the external stuff to find some big piece of long glass tube or something like that, which shatters into a million fragments.
Bits of the machine are now moving further out of kilter. The countdown has accelerated to explosion. And she's stalking towards you and is going to just hit you with this mace.
No, I'll defend myself.
Okay, so
now it's a fight.
Okay, well, the difficulty that you're facing is the nature of her weapon, and 6. You're facing 8.
Okay. Well, my basic fight, because of a stunt, is a 5 because I'm hurt. So he's still much tougher than I am, but That's a -1. So that would be 4, which would be a moderate consequence.
Exactly so.
I'm going to use the other invoke of the I am not unique.
Okay.
Because I know the fighting style of warriors. I've seen them do it before. Fine. and so I dodge some of this. Instead of taking 3, I just take 1. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, now we are out of time. There is room for more play. That's my fault for pacing it badly. But the suggestion is that things move out of kilter and we are left with a cliffhanger.
Can we have a quick, what's the last shot we see of your character before?
That's what I'm wondering. Unless anyone has got an objection to that, because I cannot think of a way to get myself out of the hole that I've now put myself in as the GM.
Camera pans up to
I'm up
tower,
to
boom.
I'm up to like narrative epilogue our way out of this as we hit a huge cliffhanger here.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to. Yeah, I'm good with that.
So I'm inclined to start with the people furthest away from the actual relationships in the room, which I think is Thorian, because he might have friends, but he doesn't have relatives in the room.
Yeah. So I think Thorian, hasn't gone well against Petal. Petal's more than holding his own, and he smacks Thorian again, and energy like blood flies out of him, and he staggers and looks up, and everything's going off, and then he grabs like a jagged piece of rock off the floor and flings it at Petal. Petal dodges out of the way and then sneers, and it has actually hit the Rad-Folk's chains. And Thorian just says, "Run!" And the last thing we see of Thorian is the other Rad-Folk like pouring out of the room while Thorian fights Petal in a battle to the death.
To hold him off.
Yeah.
Fine. And next, I'm going to go to Lars. What do we see of Lars?
I think Granny is going, but he can't just leave Thorian, right? Because and there is this Petal character who is attacking Thorian, even though Thorian has now freed his friends. I think Lars will. This machine is going to explode, and there are some parts coming loose, right? And they might be jagged, and they might be sharp. So he grabs one and just lobs it at Petal, and it's a lot heavier than you think. As it tumbles towards.
And that last shot of Thorian is a look over at Lars and a smile, right? As we face Petal together.
And behind Lars, Thorian sees that the machine, this part of the machine is red hot now. Like it's going to go off in a second because of what Lars repelled probably. But we won't see the explosion.
I'll go to Vicky next.
Zenobia, feel free to modify this, but this is what. As both the victories, realize the machine is about to go, and we're distracted for a moment. Vicky hits the ground with the hammer of destruction, which briefly throws Victory through force off her feet. Vicky runs past her just as the machine is starting to climb up and throws herself over the Princess Zenobia.
Throws herself towards Princess Zenobia, let me suggest, because then that leaves the agency with.
Well, no, as I said, feel free to modify that, please.
Princess. Yeah, so I think like we see Zenobia, taking in this whole scene, right? The machine about to blow and Vicky running towards her, and I think she says, "I'm sorry, Vicky," as she grabs her father and launches both of them back into the throne at the base of the collapsing, exploding machine.
And then there's an explosion. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording there.